friends, my name is Katie, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I made this dress from scratch using all materials from Joann's fabrics. So the story behind this dress is that my wonderful and amazing friend Sarah was getting married in Charleston, South Carolina, which is known for its amazing architecture and just amazing surroundings. So I definitely wanted something that was kind of fancier, but also springy and light and beautiful. But the weather down there does tend to be a bit humid, and I found this inspiration dress, which I will insert here, by Needle and Thread, which I absolutely loved. But there are a couple of catches to this dress. One, the company is based out of the UK and they do not ship to America. Two, the version they had on ASOS didn't come in my size, so there was no way I could even order it. And three, it's $300, which honestly, after trying to recreate it, worth it. If they had had it in my size, probably would have just bought it. I mean, so hard to replicate. These dresses are gorgeous. So if they have it in your size, and if it's your dream dress, which it kinda was mine, I would just recommend getting it from there versus trying to make it. But I do love this dress, and I am known, of course, for making my own clothes. So when I got to the wedding, everyone was like, "Did you make your dress? I really like your dress. I bet you made your dress, didn't you?" So of course it's like, well, you know, I have to show up in a dress I made. But all the material here came from Joann's. And one other catch was that 1 week prior to this wedding, I got hit in soccer and I had a humongous bruise on my arm. I don't know if you can still see a little bit of the remnants here, and it looked disgusting, and it started turning that like awkward blue yellow where it kind of looks like you're just sick and dying, and it was super gross. And I was like, I definitely need a dress with sleeves so that we can cover this up so I don't look, yeah, basically like a dead ghost. So I don't look like I'm a dying ghost that's come back to life. So let's get started. This dress had 2 layers to it, an inner layer and an outer. So I'm first going to start off by tracing a dress that I already have that I like the shape of. And I'm going to make sure that I leave enough seam allowance when tracing this so that your pattern can be slightly bigger. One thing to note is that I cut it exactly at where the waistband is, which is wrong because you want to leave more length to the bottom, because when you make the princess seams later, it's going to cut off some material. So I'll show you that part in a little bit. And then I'm going to half my pattern when I cut it out to make sure that it's equal. And then I'm going to try it on. And in this case, I realized it's slightly too small. So I'm going to draw a bigger pattern, leaving more allowance on the sides. Next, you're going to take the measurement of your back and then half that, and then lay out another sheet of paper, and you're going to take your top pattern and trace the top length of that. And in my case, I'm just cutting straight across. I then grab my material from Joann's. I have 2 types, and I'll be honest, I have no idea how much of this I have. I grabbed all of it that they had available, and then using our new pattern, I'm going to double over the material to make it a little bit thicker, and I'm going to cut out the pattern for both the front and the back. Now going back to the inspiration dress, I'm going to flat pattern it out and mark where I want the princess seams to be. So then you're going to cut this out on the pattern and then trace that onto the material. You're then going to take your new pieces that you've cut and you're going to pin them back on the exact way that you cut them. I know this doesn't make a ton of sense, but by doing this, it actually gives the material curve to it and makes it so that you will have room in your bust. And then you will very carefully straight stitch down on the princess seams. I know you're not supposed to sew through pins with your sewing machine, but I always have, and I find it a lot easier to do on super silky material like this one. So here's what it looks like when you lay it back down. You'll note that now the sides are actually shorter than the middle, and that is where I went wrong with cutting, and I lost the length that I needed to make it go down to my natural waist. But after you've sewn both pieces, you're going to want to make sure that you iron all the seams down flat so that they're nice and crisp, because we're actually going to put 2 pieces together and you don't want the seams to be popping up. So next I'm going to sew the back panels on just using a straight stitch, and then I'm going to iron it flat just the same as I did with the princess seams. So you've now got the entire top of the dress, and I double layered this because this material was very thin and because I'm not using boning. To sew them together, I'm going to match the top corners together and then pin there and then lay it out flat accordingly. I'm then going to just use a straight stitch and sew all the way around. So here comes the fun part. Once you've got everything sewn together, you're going to want to cut off any of that kind of extra stuff that would get in the way of when you turn it around, because these pieces will prevent it from having clean edges when you go to iron it. Next, I'm going to do a top stitch on my newly sewn seams. This will, one, hold your seams together better, but it will also make sure that the material lays down flat and doesn't start to pucker up anywhere. This also just looks better and gives it a professional touch to make the straps of the dress. I find it is easier with this kind of thin material to actually just double it as I go instead of pinning it in place, but that is totally personal preference. Once you're done sewing them, you're just going to attach them to the top with a straight stitch. And then I'm also going to cut off the extra material on the top so that it's a nice clean line across. Now, because I cut the pattern too short, I'm actually going to have to add a waistband to it. I went back and forth about should I just add a waistband to it or should I recut the entire pattern, and it was super late at night, so I decided it was easier to cut a waistband out than to restart, but I was definitely a little disappointed in how this turned out. And even though absolutely no one could tell, I could tell, and I knew it was wrong. So this is kind of the solution if you've already cut it wrong. So this is a make it work moment where I figured out how to make this work without cutting a new pattern, but I definitely wish I had just cut it correctly in the first place. Now for the outer layer of the top. I'm going to take my original front pattern as a reference, and then I'm going to lay down a top that I already like for reference points about where the shoulder and neck seam should be. So then I'm going to draw this pattern out and half it as normal so that each side is the same. Next, I'm going to take my new front pattern and I'm going to trace it out again because I want to copy where the princess seams were to make sure that everything lines up correctly. So I'm basically going to cut a new pattern. So I'm going to cut where the princess seams are, but on the bigger pattern. And then I'm going to cut that out of our top material and repeat the same process I did before with sewing the princess seams. I'm then also going to take my front pattern and I'm going to fold it in half to mark where the back is. And I'm going to use the same pattern as the front and the back and then just cut a seam down the back. Originally, I was going to put a zipper in here, so that is why I cut it all the way down the back. On the back of the sheer material, I'm going to use a straight stitch and I'm going to sew close the armpits as well as the top. And this is just honestly to make it easier when you're putting all the pieces together. So this doesn't have to be anything super complicated. It is just to keep them together. I'm then going to use the sleeve pattern and I'm going to outline it with a lot of extra space because the sleeves on my dress are actually supposed to be kind of flowy and big. So that is why I'm leaving a lot of space on this pattern. And then I'm going to cut two pieces out of the sheer material, and this is going to be my sleeve. This part is super hard to tell what's going on because I'm really great at knowing where the camera is and where my head is in relation to filming. But basically, I am just pinning the sleeves on. So I've taken my two sleeve patterns, and I'm just going to go all the way around the sleeve of the dress and just pin this on. And then I'm going to try it on to verify that it actually fits and that it's not too tight or too snug, or that it's not just absolutely humongous and looks ridiculous. For the skirt portion of this dress, the inspiration dress actually had like a half circle kind of shape. So it was very flat at the top, but then billowed out. So I'm just going to use a standard half circle shape. I will link a tutorial above about how to get these measurements. It is super easy, and this material again was so soft. So I'm going to actually do 4 pieces of the sheer material to give it a little bit more color and just 1 of the lining material. Here's what the top now looks like with both the layers added together. I actually made the back a little bit too big, so I'm going to have to take some of the material in the back seam off. So that is what I'm doing in this clip. I'm just folding it over and I'm going to have to chop off this extra. And this material is actually super stretchy. So originally I was going to use a zipper in the back as the closure, but I found out that I didn't actually have to do that. I could just shimmy it on over my head, and I hate sewing in zippers, so I figured anything that avoids a zipper is good for me. The sides of the sleeves on this dress had these cute little ruffles on them, so I'm going to take some thin strips of the sheer material and I'm just going to sew them into a giant tube, and then using my ruffle foot I'm going to make little ruffles all the way down it so that it has that nice gathered edge. If you don't have a ruffle foot, you can also do this by using a simple gathering stitch, which is where you put your stitch length on the longest setting possible and then you pull the threads to gather the fabric together. I personally love using my ruffle foot the best. I think it is a great investment if you're going to do a lot of things that involve ruffling because it gives you an even amount of where your ruffles are spaced. This first ruffle is going going to be the one that is on the top collar. So I'm going to lay it out on top of the collar, and then I'm going to simply hand sew it on because this thing kept moving and was just really difficult. So I found that hand sewing this delicate material actually ended up working the best. Now that I have most of the dress assembled, I'm going to put the sleeves on to see how they fit. You can see that I have actually put the sleeve on upside down, and you can also see my huge bruise on my arm, which is what I was trying to cover up in the first place. But I'm just checking the length to see how it looks. The next part of this dressmaking process, I'm actually going to show you, even though I ended up not using it because it was honestly a complete fail. So the inspiration dress had tons of beadwork and had tons of sequins, and I was like, I can totally do this. I can totally make this work, which I personally could not. I tried so hard to put this beautiful beadwork on this dress, and it ended up being really time consuming and not actually looking super good. And I totally just did not have time to make beadwork happen on this dress. So that's going to have to be something for another day. But basically, I did try very hard to sew a bunch of cute little sequins and beadwork on it. And I spent nearly half a day working on it and had only gotten a little tiny bit of it. And I was like, there is no way this is going to happen by the time of the wedding. If you're wondering how I drew out the design, I took the template for how big the dress pattern was, and then I based it off of what the inspiration dress had, and I was like, this will totally work, which it's way harder than it seems. After sewing on all the beadwork, I looked at it in the mirror and realized this is not going to work. So then I had to pull it all off, which was a little bit painful, I will admit. And then I took some material that I'd had earlier. This is also from Joann's, and I decided to just cover up the entire bodice using it. This material actually matched really, really well and looked really pretty overall. It just wasn't ideally what I was going for in the first place. But all I did is I cut out the exact pattern and then I just hand sewed it on. So that way it would cover up all of kind of the imperfections in the bodice, but also would look very pretty. I do actually really like the way this dress turned out. The only thing I don't necessarily love is I'm not sure how they made this thing stay up straight. I don't know if mine's just too big or too long, but it kind of flops down awkwardly a lot, so I'm not sure how that one was supposed to work. But I think the little detail on the sleeves here is really pretty. And then this lace material that I thought was a little too big for my frame, honestly, ended up turning out great. And again, at the wedding, everyone was like, oh, I love your dress, and they knew that I made it, and you know, I got tons and tons of compliments. I will say another thing that I tend to be super good at, which is super random, is I always happen to match the bridesmaids. So I show up, and of course my friend Sarah is one of the most fashionable people I know, and obviously this color is really, really on trend right now, which should have been a red flag in my mind. And I get there and the bridesmaids and I are wearing the exact same color, like exact. And of course theirs were swoopy and long, so we didn't look the same, but I was like, we are wearing the same color. I look like I'm one of them. Like, how do I always end up doing this? If you guys like this video, please give me a big thumbs up because it's free, and who doesn't love free things? It lets me know that you guys are there and that all of this work at least help somebody learn how to cut a bodice better than what I cut. If you're not subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button down below because I make tons of DIY and lifestyle videos, and I would love to have you as part of my DIY family. If you've made it this far in the video, let me know. Are you loving millennial pink or whatever this weird shade is? Are you totally over it? And I want to give a big shout out to one of the bridesmaids at the wedding, Jenny, who told me I was her favorite YouTuber, and I totally almost cried right then and there. Love you so much, and I wanted to just tell you hi. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!